Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex, and the eShop Black Friday sale, it is finally live in all regions, and as promised, I'm now heading back to my coverage from last week, where the UK, EU and Australia saw their deals live, and I'm adding in that US and Canadian pricing. So with that, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals daily, and let's get started. So definitely working smarter, not harder, reusing those videos from last week, but if you could do me a favour as well, drop a comment down below, like the video, would love to get this out there to as many people as possible, and supposedly that all helps. If you do decide to grab anything from today's video, then as well consider using cornershop.gg for discounted eShop credits. You'll get 10% off at checkout using code CORNER, and that's going to be instant delivery via email, so you can use it towards those Black Friday pickups, and the channel in return gets a small kickback. Expect from the channel this week then a heavy focus on sales with a few reviews scattered in, but right now I'm showing 1900 games in the eShop sale live, so I've got a whole lot to dig through. Also, I'll still be covering the Target and GameStop physical sales as well. Finally, find all of my deals videos on Black Friday so far, and reviews in fact from today's video, in the pinned comment down below. With that though, let's get into it. No More Heroes free to kick us off, then a new low, 50% off. I adore this game. I'll say it up front as well, it has issues with its frame rate during the open world. It's also kind of an empty open world, honestly. But what you're coming here for is the combat, the 1v1 battles, where it locks out that frame rate. Travis Touchdown though, one of my favourite recent characters, and this time we are climbing the assassin leaderboard against what is invading aliens. It's completely out there, it can be Fulgur, and it's just incredible for it. My review in the pinned comments. Horizon Chase Turbo then is here, a new low, 80% off, that is a steal. You can also find the Senna expansion DLC on sale for a new low, or bundled with the game itself for just a few bucks more. Now as racers go, it is a love letter to Top Gear and Outrun, and I just think it's one of the best on the system, from its great selection of modes to the visuals and the soundtrack. It is well loved though, and with good reason. Dusk Diver then gets a new low price, 85% off, and this one an action RPG that's been blended with a hack and slash styled gameplay. The core idea, we exist in the normal world, but we're drafted by gods to fight back evil. The combat in the world, it's definitely fun, especially the day-to-day exploration, incredibly colourful. The thing I didn't like, the dungeons, they're just a bit bland and repetitive. You can see my full review in the pinned comments. River City Girls then is one of the best brawlers on the Switch, and while it's always been more expensive than most, it is worth it because it's sizable for the genre. A single run, it's going to take you in the region of 8 or so hours, and these are games that are designed to be replayed. Also then, it's blending in some RPG elements as well, which really work, such as think weapons, items and abilities. Expect then to see a selection of the cast in here, but this time the boys, Kunio and Ricky, they are in trouble, and the girls are out to save the day. Fantastic cast, and a new low price here, 50% off. Card Shark would be a good option for puzzle fans that want something a little different. This one, we're essentially a card hustler, travelling the world, raising that bank account. The story does evolve though, everything from, personal relationships to political intrigue. And yet even the opening moments of the game, our mother of sorts is murdered, and that's basically where we get into this way of life. It gets complex though, some of the tricks occasionally miss, I will say, but generally I was impressed with this 5 or so hour journey. Mastering the tricks as well, it's just incredibly rewarding, and you can check out my full review in the pinned comments. Grindstone then is a personal favourite and one of the best puzzle games on the Switch. This was top 2 for me on my top 20 puzzle games, and that video is linked down below beside my dedicated review. The visuals and the music for me, that makes this the complete package. I even actually picked up the soundtrack myself, but the gameplay, it's just gem matching with enemies that you need to fight back against, and it's incredibly addictive. Just a really interesting idea overall, scale of this mountain, clear maps, take on enemies, find loot, and eventually tackle, boss encounters. It's matching the low price then, 50% off, but we haven't seen this price now in nearly a year. The Artful Escape then I really like, it's 50% off, a new low price, and this one's a platformer that puts you in the role of a musician that lives in the shadow of his uncle, a folk music legend. People basically expect him to deliver in this same genre, but he's not sure if that's really the musical style for him, and what precedes is an adventure through the universe to discover his own sound. Cinematic in design, beautiful to look at and listen to. Its only real downfall, a few frame rate wobbles, but overall I still really liked it, and it's all very, Bill and Ted-esque. Find my full review in the pinned comment down below. Blossom Tales 2 The Minotaur Prince then is a recent release, so it's a new low but a smaller discount, 20% off. I think personally it's well worth it though for those that enjoy a more old school Zelda-like experience. My full review it's in the pinned comment, but I really enjoyed this world. The combat is simple but entertaining, and the environmental puzzles, there's a couple towards the end that pack a challenge, but they're really entertaining. It's just a return to what was introduced in the first game though. Our grandfather narrates a tale and we become the hero. It's a decent 10 or so hours of gameplay then for your cash as well, and I actually think full price is extremely fair, so this it is a bargain. Demon Turf Neon Splash then, while I'm talking smaller discounts, this was a spin-off of the incredibly well done action platformer. Here though, we remove the combat, we focus purely on the platforming, by far the best bit of the experience. And yeah, it's basically been built out, this one, for speedrunners. Controls wise though, it's great. I still love that 2D character in their 3D world design, and that music as well, just top quality. My full review it's in the pinned comment, but some really entertaining moments and levels packed full of challenge, and it's a new low price with 15% off. Again though, do be aware, I know it's only 15%, but this game it was incredibly cheap to begin with. Monster Hunter Rise, a new low then, 50% off, and this is a whole lot of bang for your buck. It can be played solo, but I think everyone knows this is going to be best when you jump online with a group of hunters. The gameplay loop here is simple enough, honestly. Hunt down these beasts, explore these locations, but the real entertainment for me, it's kind of that slow ramp in difficulty alongside all of the different upgrades and equipment. Something incredibly satisfying as well about a long drawn out battle finally coming to a close. New options in here as well, good fun, think like the wire bug. Digimon Survive then is one I'm still playing through at the moment. I'm really liking it. The game, it's a visual novel essentially, but with some SRPG moments baked in as well. It definitely has some performance issues, but given the genre, I do not think it has all that much of an impact. And yeah, honestly, I've been loving the story. It's actually adult. We're on this island, and as the name suggests, we need to survive. Characters can die. It was just unexpected, and a lot complained about the gameplay, but they couldn't have warned us any more in the marketing. People just wanted something to complain about, but that's on them for not listening to every warning that Bandai Namco gave us. This one though, it's 30% off. Curse of the Dead Gods then is 50% off, a new low price. This will be for the roguelite fans. Unlike Hades, this is actually broken down into sections as you make your way through a temple that progressively sees you basically unlock longer and longer runs. The gunplay and the melee action though is solid throughout, even if I don't like the fact it's got randomized weapons to open at the beginning. I'd personally rather choose one and then go ahead and master it. The real spin with this game though, it's gotta be the title, Curses. Basically, you progress, you'll gain curses. Most of them are going to be bad, some occasionally good, like you start to bleed out. That's definitely a bad one. It's going to kill you by the end of your run most of the time. Like any in the genre, it can basically be brutal though, and overall I generally liked it. The only other minor, I guess, complaint, looks great visually, but occasionally I'd say it can be a little too dark for its own good, and it can make some of the attacks from enemies feel a little cheap. The Last Campfire then, I really liked this one. It's from the team behind No Man's Sky, but this was released to little fanfare. It's definitely as well bite-sized in comparison. An adventure puzzle game though, you are a lost ember. You're trying to find your way back to your home. It's definitely easygoing overall with a lovely little world to explore, but then there's some unique individuals to meet on this journey, and some of the puzzles, they can be really entertaining. My full review, it's in the pinned comment below. It is a new low price though, 80% off. Wunderling DX then is a blast. It's here with 90% off. I actually did a sponsored video on this one, which I'll link down below, but the DX in the name you may not always see on the eShop, but it is a completely free upgrade, so do not worry, it is there. And this is an extremely unique game. Basically though, we play as the lowest form, a bad guy chasing after Carrot Man, this kind of world, hero. What precedes is a auto runner platformer. Just some really fun and challenging moments though throughout, with a whole host of collectibles as well. The DX in the name then, this is now the definitive build, which adds in new levels, items, story segments, and even a completely free expansion. And yeah, generally this one just comes highly recommended. You can't go wrong at this price. AI, the Somnium Files, then returns with its low of 80% off, and it is a steal of a price for this one. It received a very good follow-up as well in 2022. I definitely start here though, however, and it's an adventure game, think a darker variation of almost Phoenix Wright, with everything from heavy dialogue sequences, very much visual novel-esque, to investigation and piecing together what are, I guess, fragments. Story, it's near future Tokyo, we are a detective, we're investigating a serial killer. I just love the cast, and this has been one of the gems of this generation. Some of the puzzles though, I will say as a minor complaint, they can at times feel a tiny bit too obscure. Boomerang X was a recent release then from Devolver Digital, but it didn't seem to land quite as hard as many of their titles do, but this should not be overlooked, as you'll see in my review in the pinned comment below. A first-person experience, it's essentially a shooter, but you move from arena to arena, you'll tackle the bad guys, or I guess like kind of creatures here, and then you'll explore, but the spin really is the boomerang weapon, which gradually it grants new abilities. So before you know it, you'll be doing things like teleporting to your boomerang's location. It's all sorts of crazy, and it gets incredibly, just fast. It's wrapped up then with an incredibly unique visual style, and it's a new low price then, 50% off. I really do believe though this one, it is a hidden gem. Ruiner, also Devolver Digital, and a personal favourite. It just captured that old school sense of fun, a simple story that asks you to shoot everything in an isometric style. Story-wise, our brother is kidnapped, it's a cyberpunk world, we are a sociopath, and we're on the hunt now to bring them back. What follows is just a whole host of weapons and enemies to kill. So yeah, I just really like this one. It's one of the better experiences in my opinion in the genre. It looks fantastic on the Switch, and that soundtrack then is just killer. This was one that I picked up a physical copy for, and now it's a new low. That is a steal of a price though as well, 80% off. Demon Slayer then I loved. I had recently got into the anime just before this game, and you're best wrapping up season 1 at least before playing unless you want spoilers. This world though I love. The cast is fantastic, the combat is incredible, very much an arena brawler, which I've always enjoyed, kind of a simplistic control scheme, and while the exploration between battles it was linear, I actually still didn't mind it. I thought it was a nice way to push the story forward, and I really enjoyed seeing some of these locations. If you like the anime though, I'm confident in saying you'll have a good time with this one. Also, it's just a great port as well. Find my review below, but it's a new low here, 40% off. No Man's Sky I'm personally playing right now. It's a game I constantly come back to. I actually picked this up back when it was first released, and it is such a different game now. As ports go though, it's incredibly impressive what they've achieved here, especially when you factor in just the incredible scale of this world. Taking off, leaving a planet, landing on another, learning you're the first to ever see it. That just never gets old, and the concept, you need to get to the center of this galaxy. Along the way though, we will upgrade, encounter life forms, and simply try to survive. You can definitely push the frame rate if you go all out here with construction, but realistically, it's rarely an issue, and No Man's Sky in the palm of your hands again, it's just an impressive feat. Persona 5 Royal then to close us out, in a masterpiece of a JRPG and a personal favourite of the last few years. I actually have a performance review live here on the channel, I'll link that down below, but you'll easily get over 100 hours of gameplay from this one. The idea though, you can essentially see into people's minds and how they view themselves and the world. It gets incredibly dark at points, but that's what makes the story so unique, and then it's reinforced with what is an incredible cast and this fantastic visual style. It's a new low price then, that is 30% off. A quick mention actually on the back of this, if you want more action-packed kind of Persona, find Persona 5 Strikers on sale for a new low, 60% off. Think all of the exploration and dialogue you love, but now with Warriors style combat instead of turn-based. They did a really good job of balancing the two styles in here, and I'll link my review in the pinned comment below. And that is the video down. Hopefully adding this pricing helped you all out. I will add here though a few notable games missing, Metroid Dread, Ori, Disco Elysium, and 13 Sentinels being the big ones this far. What will you be picking up though? Let me know in the comments down below. With that then, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.